SMQBs, episode 183. Hail to the. No, I'm not going to say it. I'm not going there. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. No,
He's
not doing
cocky.
it.
Mhm.
Rooster, who are you bringing to the bar this week?
Before we get there, Bison, who's in first place in the NFC East?
Oh, well, that would be the Commanders, of course. We all knew that was gonna.
course.
That's exactly where we thought they'd be after 4 games.
I am taking to the bar. I'm going to go to New York City for this and go to my favorite Irish pub near Madison Square Garden. And I'm going to take Hal Steinbrenner, who apparently has been buddying up to Juan Soto. And I'm going to tell him, for God's sakes, please re-sign this guy. Don't be stupid. I mean, he's the future of the team. We have to have him.
You do have to have them.
Hard to
I hope
argue
you
against
don't.
that. Yeah.
Milk,
that's
what about you?
A year ago, you guys would have laughed at me if I took this gentleman to a bar, but I'm gonna take Sam Darnold. I am in shock at what I am seeing. Yesterday, 20 of 28, 275 yards, 3 touchdowns. 4 games in now. This is a hell of a resurgence. And I'd like to treat him to a drink. Vikings are for real.
4 games in, he's looking like an MVP candidate.
Yeah, he's looking like
It's a
MVP.
Baker Mayfield resurgence.
It's unreal. Pope, what about you?
I'm taking a head coach of the SMU Mustangs, Rhett Lashley, to the bar.
Nice win. Nice win.
To congratulate him on a big win. We'll talk about that later, but also to get him fired up for the game on Saturday against Louisville. It is, according to the schedule, the last game against a ranked opponent that SMU plays this year because they play a weak-ass ACC schedule, no Clemson or Miami.
Interesting. Interesting that Pope is talking more about SMU now.
Yeah.
He hasn't talked about SMU in 3 years on this
Interesting.
podcast.
Interesting. Well, I
Here
am
we
bringing one Cliff Kingsbury to the
Yeah,
bar,
Coach Bro.
because he went back to the team that canned him and absolutely kicked their ass. So, and not only that, wow, what a job he's done with Jayden Daniels, bringing him along up to this point. So a lot of football left, but he's earned a drink on me at the bar this week. Let's get into it. Let's get into week 4. Rooster, what do we got to talk about?
First question. Who gets fired first? Doug Pederson or Nick Sirianni?
Whoa.
I mean, Doug Pederson, right?
Jags are 0-4 in a division.
And they look
terrible.
lost. They look lost, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you could see the team maybe is going to start to quit too. Like, I mean, look, yesterday in Tampa, and I can say this with House not on, was an ass kicking, but I will say also that they did not have their 1 and 2 wide receiver. So it'd be like the Bucs had
Or their right
Evans.
tackle
or their best offensive lineman, right?
Yeah.
Well, we didn't have our lineman either, right? Or a safety. So, we all had injuries. But if we had played that game without Evans and Godwin, it probably would have ended differently. So I don't know. Sirianni's safe to me.
We also don't have Saquon.
He had a nice run, but other than that, Vita Vase stuffed him.
So week 4, we're down to 2, possibly 3 undefeateds, depending on what happens tonight with Seattle, who's 3-0. Who would have guessed that the undefeateds outside of the Chiefs would be the Vikings and maybe the Seahawks at this point? Crazy.
I mean, listen, on the Vikings, I said it last week, I'm going to keep preaching. Kevin O'Connell, man, you got to give that guy unbelievable credit for what he's done. And it just keeps on going.
Well, they look like they're going to roll. I think they're going to win next week too. They look strong. Their running game is really good. Their passing game's outstanding, and their defense may be better than all of the above.
Right. And they get the Jets.
Yeah, which the Jets are in a fucking free fall for some reason. They had 1 good game this season, and now they look like shit. What happened? Their line can't stop anyone. They've got this old man running around for his life back there.
Rooster, you know what happened.
They're
right?
the Jets. That's what happened.
Jets are going to Jets, right?
Jets are the Jets.
And Aaron wants to be the coach. That's one of the problems.
Yeah,
Man, every time he opens his mouth, I hate him more.
Yeah,
Hey, you know who should be on the hot seat is the Jets coach.
Salah.
He
Yeah,
could be,
Salah. I
Yeah.
mean, if
especially if he
they go
doesn't mend his fits
downhill,
with Aaron.
He's a perfect example of what I've been talking about recently. Damn good defensive coordinator, terrible head coach. Get him back where he belongs and stop embarrassing yourself as a head coach. He's terrible. And the word, you know what, the worst of the worst always are exposed by that HBO show, Hard Knocks. He looked terrible on that show last year. The Giants' entire staff did this year. They all have to go.
I have a question. How bad are the Browns?
Well, you're about
Browns
to
are
find out.
horrendous. They're horrendous.
it's bad.
It's pretty bad, right?
Yeah.
I heard that this is like the worst offensive 4-game stretch that they've ever had. And you think like back to some of the teams that the Browns have had. I mean, that's pretty awful, isn't it? Like
Right.
the Browns are really bad all the time.
Look,
And this is the worst.
after the Colts beat the Steelers yesterday, do you have any doubt that if the Browns still had Flacco, they'd be playing a whole lot better?
I mean,
Well,
Flacco, that's unbelievable.
You would
yeah.
think.
Do you know
Deshaun,
what his QBR was yesterday?
Who, Flacco?
36.
Oh,
No, Deshaun Watson's 36.
Something's happened to that
they
guy.
did-
He's no longer the player that he used to be.
they
No.
did get screwed. I don't know if y'all watched the red zone or the game at all, but they did get screwed. They had a long touchdown pass to Amari Cooper called back on a total bullshit holding call.
Okay, well, you're defending an Alabama player, clearly.
No,
So,
no, I'm
Yeah.
not. I'm just saying the Browns arguably should have beat the Raiders yesterday. That was bullshit.
All right.
Yeah. All right.
He still had a terrible game, though.
He
right?
still looked
I mean,
terrible.
Agreed.
He may have had one good pass, but he looked terrible. I don't think he's ever going to get it back. I don't know why, but he just doesn't look like it's in him anymore. Bryson, you have to talk about the Commanders. I will pat myself on the back and say I thought they'd be good this year. And I said that on this pod, but Jesus,
Well,
you have to be thrilled.
my two futures bets on Daniels as offensive rookie of the year and the Commanders to make the playoffs are feeling okay right now.
Yeah.
A lot of football left. Listen, I mean, I don't really know what to say. I'm not sure how I'm supposed to act. I feel like something bad is going to happen at any moment now. But Jayden Daniels, I mean, he's the real deal. He's just, I don't know, 4 games in, and I think he's got more scoring drives than incompletions, or something. I mean, it's wild.
He's just playing with so much confidence.
He's completing 82% of his passes after 4 weeks. That's
absurd, by the way.
And you've seen him. I don't know if they're opening the playbook up. I mean, I thought week 1 against Tampa, they didn't do anything. I mean, he was running the whole time. It really didn't seem like they gave him a chance to throw. And I don't know if that was just first game for him, but I mean, he's made some throws yesterday. They highlighted this one, the touchdown to Ertz on the broadcast, where he just let it rip to a spot in the back of the end zone. And I mean, Ertz came out behind like 3 guys to catch it. I mean, it was a big time throw because he wasn't throwing to an open guy. He was throwing to an open spot on the field. And I mean, he's got a cannon of an arm, and he seems to make the right decisions when he puts the ball down and runs. I mean, he picked up first downs. He didn't run that much yesterday. He looks like he has everything under control.
And the running game is league leading as well for some reason with Brian Robinson in some statistical areas, not all, but
yeah.
But what I don't get is where did this defense come from that we saw yesterday?
Well, I think some of that might be the Cardinals.
You think?
Right?
Well, they've been playing well.
Yeah, I mean, Washington's defense has always been better than their offense lately.
Yeah, but not lately.
Well, here's what I'll say.
They gave away half their defenders.
And I think you're seeing the benefit of that, honestly. The way they played yesterday, Kyler didn't have any big scrambles, right? When he got pressure, I mean, I think they had 5 sacks yesterday. Maybe it was 4, but last year with Sweat and Chase Young on the ends, guys who I liked, but with them on the ends, they would have been going for sacks every down, and Kyler would have gotten outside the edge and been able to take off. And maybe what you're seeing is a defense that doesn't have a lot of huge superstars on it, and you've got guys who know how to play their role and do what they're supposed to do, because you didn't see him have a chance at getting outside the pocket yesterday and taking off. So I think maybe the unit is just playing as a team right now. And you know what? They're going to get another chance next week to play well against the not very good offense. So, that helps you get there. But, you got guys like Bobby Wagner in the middle. I mean, I think that's a big plus as far as, getting people in the right position, making the right calls, and running the right plays.
Yeah.
Are the Commanders the best team in the East? Yes or no?
Yes.
Right now they are.
Yes. Wow. Changing of the guard.
No,
I don't know.
I'm not necessarily saying it's a changing of the guard because the Eagles are hurt. But right now, the Commanders are the best team in the East. When
Yeah,
AJ
the eye
Brown
test.
and Devonta Smith come back, we'll see, and the O-line gets healthy with the Eagles. We shall see.
But certainly the eye test is they are.
I still think the defense is going to get exposed. I don't think the defense is that good. And I also think Daniels is going to have a game where, he throws 3 picks and fumbles in the end zone or something like that, just because he's a rookie.
But you're at least a year ahead of what you thought would be the schedule.
Are you?
Oh yeah.
You might be 4-1 in a week from today.
Yeah.
So
here's a question I've got. Here's a good question I've got for you when looking in the Commanders. What do these guys all have in common? Baker Mayfield, Mahomes, Kyler Murray, Caleb Williams, and Jayden Daniels.
Heisman.
Coach Bro. No? I undervalued how much Coach Bro would bring to developing Jayden Daniels. Think about it. He was head coach of Baker Mayfield and Mahomes. He worked obviously with Kyler Murray as head coach at Arizona, and when he went to USC, he worked with Caleb Williams. So
yeah, that's true.
I mean, to Rooster's point, probably one of the best points of the year so far is these coordinators who failed as head coaches in NFL are really making a difference.
But you have to say that Jayden Daniels, after 4 games, and it may be because of his age, but he looks like he's a year or 2 ahead of Caleb Williams in terms of being NFL ready.
I think you're right on about the age thing. I mean, he played 55 games in college. That's a lot of football. There's very few, top draft pick quarterbacks who come out who have played that many games in college, right? I mean, that's a lot. 55 college games.
Yeah. And what conference was he in? Sorry.
He started in.
You can remind everyone.
He started in the Pac-12, right?
Jayden Daniels? I don't know. I don't know where he started.
Arizona State.
Oh yeah. It wasn't very long there though.
I don't know, but he definitely finished at the SEC. So
good work, Milk. Got to work that SEC football.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Pope and
that's our job.
Pope and I watched the Giants Cowboys game together Thursday night, and you kind of expected that game to be lousy, and it was. But man, the game of the week was supposed to be the Packers and the Vikings, and I think that lived up to it. The Vikings beat yet another good team. I mean, the Packers are a good team, and once Jordan Love got the rust off of him, he started putting up some big time numbers. I think he threw for over 300 and something yards and threw maybe 3 touchdowns. And
weren't the Vikings up 28-0 in that game?
Yeah. It took Jordan a while.
They were taking the Alabama woodshed to him in the first half, and then the Packers just played desperate, and Love amassed a ton of yards, just like you said.
I mean, now they've got Madison back and healthy. I mean, that's a potent offense.
I want to go back to that Thursday game for a second, and not just because you guys' teams suck, but I mean, those Thursday games rarely are exciting, good games. is it really just that these guys are so beat down that they need those 2 extra days to get healthy so that you can see good quality football?
I
I mean,
can't
it is a
stand
really
Thursday.
short week, right?
That's what
It's
the
really
players
short.
say. You know,
The
you
Bucks have to play Thursday.
You remember John Riggins could barely walk for a few days after every game.
Yeah.
I mean, they need those days to heal.
Yeah, I don't know why we're doing this with Thursday night football. Unless the only way you can do it, I think, is you have your bye the week before.
Or you make sure they're playing Monday the next.
Well, it's not
now
fair
the
for the
Monday
team
games.
that goes on the road either. Like, I'm sorry. There's some sort of, I mean,
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
finish
it's the Thanksgiving phenomenon. For years, that has been the case. You got a road team, but they usually get, a bye to try to compensate them for that. But now it's every week we got a Thursday game, so it's really hard to do that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I just think you're not seeing good quality. The product is not what it is on Sunday ever when you watch those games. So
No.
it's not a good idea.
Let's
Oh,
talk a
I'm-
little bit about last night's game, because I think that we now have a team that is 2-2 that could very well be the best team in
surprised.
the league.
Not surprised at all.
Yeah. I mean,
This
they
is-
figured it out. Run Derrick Henry.
I mean, Pope and I talked about it 2 weeks ago, that when we were talking about 0-2 teams, and like we didn't even discuss it for more than a second. We knew Baltimore was much better than that. And I'm not shocked at all. They're gonna win the division probably.
Yeah.
You
No,
know,
but
like,
what I think it does show you is how quick we are to anoint MVPs in the NFL. Like everybody was talking about Josh Allen being, playing at such a high level and calling the coverages or the pass protections and calling the plays and just playing it at an uber high level and clearly was going to be the MVP. And then they scored 10 points. It's just funny. The NFL is wild. I mean, easy come, easy go, right?
week to week, right?
Yeah.
I just
Week to week.
At this point in the season, after 4 games, how many points? What do you think the point differential is between the Chiefs and the Ravens, and who has more?
I heard some wild stat about the Chiefs that they've won 14 games in a row or something by a collective 60 points.
The Chiefs have 90,
I believe it.
The Chiefs have 92 total points scored. The Ravens have 106.
The Chiefs could be 0-4, guys.
So put
I'm
that
sort
in
of shocked that
context. The Texans have 79 and they're 3-1.
Yeah.
The Ravens are putting it together now, man, and they're scary good.
And I mean, there's worries in Kansas City with Rice is now gone.
Yep.
Yeah.
Hey, karma's a bitch, like I said.
Yeah.
He shouldn't have been playing this year.
He's
not.
They have a rookie and a bunch of kind of below average receivers now that they're left with. Is Hollywood Brown coming back anytime soon?
I don't know.
I don't know. Derrick Henry, by the way, I mean, that guy is still running away from defensive backs.
His
I mean,
speed.
it's wild. I mean, first of all, isn't he like 30 years old at this point? And
250 something.
And has been the most bruising back in football for a while. I mean, he takes hits and he just runs away from the D-backs. He's just flat faster than them.
That run that he had to open up the game for them, that was like 80 yards. Whatever speed they clocked him at was like the second or third fastest in the league.
Right. You want to see him and like Tyreek run a 40, next to each other and see what happens.
Yeah.
Because somebody that big shouldn't be running that fast.
I'm not getting in front of that guy when he gets
right
ahead of speed. That's for damn sure.
He's also trucking guys, which also has a wear and tear.
Right. Clearly not that much though. So okay, so what are the two biggest stories coming out? Here we are. Of course, we've got Monday night tonight. But what do you think are the two biggest stories in the NFL right now that you got to be talking about?
Well, I think one of them's Jayden Daniels.
I think it is too.
Yep.
Yeah.
Which makes me very uncomfortable. Very uncomfortable about that.
It should make you uncomfortable.
But I think it is one of the top two.
I think it's Jayden Daniels and Sam Darnold. I mean,
Sam Darnold. or
Yeah.
Derrick Henry. Either one.
Jayden Daniels, Sam Darnold, and the 0-4 Jags.
Yeah. And the
Yeah.
fact that Bo Nix threw for 60 yards yesterday, which I think is a record. It's
And
still
not a good
yeah. No, the Vikings it's shocking. I think we were all laughing at the beginning of the year at the prospect of Sam Darnold leading that team. Well, here you are. It's crazy.
All right. Well,
what else we got on
are
football?
we ready for Plaxico, or anyone have any more on week 4?
Well,
I think we're ready.
All right, I've got the list. Shockingly, House is 4-0 at this point.
That's probably the biggest story of all, even
Yeah.
bigger than the NFL.
Having picked the Chargers plus 7.5 over Kansas City. 3 of us picked the Rams plus 2.5 over the Bears and lost.
I mean, how is that possible? The Bears suck.
I know it. And then
and the Rams had played really well week 4, and I got to tell you, I've got a bet with my legal assistant, and she's a huge Chicago Bear fan, so stay tuned. It might get ugly.
Not only that, but how many of you went in on Bison's bet, picking the Rams and the over?
Yeah.
Ouch.
That didn't work out.
It was the over on the Vikings, wasn't it?
Yeah.
We hit the over.
Hit the over and lost on the Rams.
The Rams were the one that
Milk lost, taking the Steelers -2 versus the Colts, who lost their starting quarterback and nonetheless won the game.
And I still don't understand how they didn't win.
I know that's not so. Milk, Bison, and I are 2-2.
Ooh, sounds
House
about right.
leads the pack at 4-0, and our last year's champion is still sucking up the tail end there.
Kind of like the Jags.
Come on, Pope. Pope, that means you go.
I feel good.
Again.
Did you say the Jags?
Kind of feels like it. Like 0-4, 1-3. All right. I for the life of me can't understand this line. How is Washington only giving 3 to one of the worst teams in the league? But I will take Washington -3 at home against Cleveland. Come on.
Sign me up. I'm in. Same bet. Commanders all the way.
I think we should all go in on the Commanders.
I love this bet. -3?
How's that possible?
At home?
But there's one other game I like too, but I didn't take
Bison,
it.
Bison, are you going to get on with your home team?
No. I'm not going to do that. No, hell no. I'm taking the Niners 7.5. I just watched the Cardinals play.
Ooh, that's a big line.
It's a big line, but I think the 49ers are going to smash them.
All right.
Well, House and I are both taking the Vikings -2.5 against the JTS Jets.
Yes. That's the other one. Okay. Come on.
Ooh, now where is that game? That's in London?
It's in Minnesota. Oh, well.
No, it's
in London. Still.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Well,
interesting.
Isn't Aaron dinged up? Is he playing?
I think he's playing, but their line looks like Swiss cheese again, so the line must be hurt.
He was limping at the end of the game.
Ooh. That's
all right, we need a parlay.
No, definitely don't. Keep it to yourself this week. I don't want to hear it.
I think, Milk, what do you think of the Bucks over in the Bucks Falcons game, the over of 43.5 plus the Vikings giving 2.5?
I like that. My only concern is the Thursday night. I'm so mad this game is happening on Thursday and we have to go on the road. It's just going to kill our momentum. But
Baker looks good, man. He is playing really well.
The Falcons should not have won the game against the Saints.
Division games on the road are hard always.
But we're just taking the over. Do you think they get to 43?
Yeah, I like the over. The Falcons can score points. That's a good bet.
All right, a $20 bet on that gets you 72.89 at the end. So
nice.
Okay. All right. Mark it down. I'm locking it in right now.
Yep, I got it. All right.
Let's go.
All right. Anything else on the NFL? We got to do a
No.
quick MLB postseason
Breaking news,
discussion
right?
here. And yeah, I mean, we're in the midst of breaking news on that, I guess. So let's say right now, what we've got is the Braves and the Mets are in game 2. By the time this airs, we'll know who won. But
Yep.
they're in the bottom of the third. The Braves are up 1-0. The Braves need to win to get in.
Okay.
If they lose, the Mets, Pope, correct me if I'm wrong, the Mets get the 5 seed and the
Correct.
Diamondbacks go in as the 6 seed.
Nerds, Diamondbacks, number 6.
Yeah, the Diamondbacks are sitting home watching, and they need the Mets to win this game.
They need the Mets to, and the Braves win. The D-backs
the Braves are
out.
in. Yeah,
D-backs
that's
are
right.
out. The D-backs
Okay.
needed a sweep one way or the other. Now they're huge Mets fans.
Yeah.
Ooh.
And by the way, it was a pretty intense game 1 of the doubleheader. Pope, tell us kind of what happened there, what the swings were.
Braves took the lead at the bottom of the 8th. Albies almost hit a grand slam, but he cleared the bases, so they got up 7-6 going into the top of the 9th, and blown save. I don't even remember who hit the home run, but 2-run jack. Braves lose 8-7.
Lindor.
Was it Lindor?
Francisco Lindor, yeah. Yeah. So here's what we've got right now going into the postseason, and we've got the wild card round that I guess starts tomorrow. And it's the first game is Detroit at Houston. Okay, so that's the 6 versus 3 seed in the AL. And then you've got the Orioles versus the Royals. Orioles are the 4 seed, and that game's at 4:00 tomorrow. And then we'll go to whoever, we still don't know on the National League side exactly what it's going to be. It's either going to be the Mets versus Milwaukee, or I guess the Mets versus San Diego, I guess, depending on what happens. So, and then the other team is Arizona or Atlanta. We just don't know. We don't know who's in yet. So the National League side, as of recording right now, is not settled. But these are quick. These are 3-game series. So we start on Saturday with the divisional series. And in the AL, we've got the Yankees with the 1 seed and the Guardians with the 2 seed. In the National League, we've got the Dodgers with the 1 seed and the Phillies with the 2 seed. Guys,
and these are what, best of what, 3?
Best of 3, all played at the top seeds home.
Top there.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then it's best of 7, right? Then the next 2 are both best of 7. The world's got to be rooting for the Dodgers and the Yankees, right?
And we're tied 1-1 Braves Mets.
Oh, there you go.
Ooh, okay.
Live action.
I know House is certainly not going to appreciate the wanting to see the Dodgers and the Yankees, but with the historic seasons that Ohtani and Judge, and arguably Judge and Soto as a pair, put up, you really want to see that. Isn't that what you want to see in the series?
I do.
I know you do. Yeah.
We have a good record against the Dodgers in the World Series.
When's the last time they played in the World Series? The 70s?
Probably when Mr. October made a name for himself.
Huh.
Steve Yeager, Davey Lopes, all those guys.
Yeah.
It would be pretty cool. The back and forth, the coastal.
Yeah.
It would be the highest ranked World Series. It'd have to be. You would think.
I'll tell you what. There are a few teams right now I would not want to be playing in the wild card. The Tigers are hot, and the pitching is astounding. The Padres are hot and have more talent than most teams in the league. They're finally playing like they do. And the Orioles are just a damn good team.
Yeah,
that's an exciting series. Royals and Orioles.
Yeah, with Witt and the O's. Rooster, I think you said the key word though when you were talking about the Tigers being hot right now. if let's say the Mets win and go in, I mean, they're on fire right now, right? And that's where you want to be.
Yeah.
I mean, that is almost better than having the bye, except for the fact that with the bye, you get to get your pitching lined up the way you want it. But man, give me a hot team going into the playoffs to wreck someone else's postseason.
Exactly. And the Royals, I know everyone thinks Witt makes up for a lot of problems on that team, but they are cold right now. They've really kind of struggled finishing off the season.
I mean, the hottest team going in terms of win streak is Orioles. They've won 3 in a row. That's okay.
Yeah,
it
but
matters.
It does matter. It's gonna be fun. We'll cover this a little more, I think, next week when we know a little bit. We don't even have the whole format set yet, the whole bracket set at this point.
One last question. Last year there were 2 wild cards that went to the World Series, Braves and D-backs. Rangers and D-backs. Do you see a wild card?
You couldn't even hope.
Do you see a wild card?
Unbelievable.
Well, Freudian slip. Do you see a wild card there this year that could go to the World Series?
Orioles. Sure. Astros.
No, Astros are division winner. They're just the 3rd one.
Yeah.
From a true wild card.
All right, Orioles.
Yeah,
I think Padres.
Padres.
I think Orioles were Padres.
The Padres
I
played
would
pretty
say
well
the
to get in
Padres.
too. The
It
Padres
would not shock me if the Orioles got past the Yankees.
Yeah.
Ooh.
They play well against the Yankees.
Well, yeah, you don't want to do a division playoff series.
Now, saying all that, who's got the best pitching in the postseason right now?
Phillies?
I think the Phillies do.
Phillies, Tigers.
Yeah.
I think it's Phillies.
I think the Phillies have the best pitching. And that is dangerous too.
Yeah, that's dangerous for a lot of reasons, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, I wanted one correction here because this is live. I saw a highlight of a home run for the Mets. It's actually still 1-0 Braves in the 3rd.
Yeah, I was waiting for that update on my phone. I didn't see it. So, all right. Anything else on baseball?
Nope. Go Yankees.
It'll be fun.
Let's stick with New York for a minute. There was a trade, an NBA trade. Rooster, how are you feeling about that?
I hate this trade. I fucking hate this trade. I'll be honest.
Oh, wow.
I don't like Cat as a player.
All right. Well, first tell our listener what the trade is.
Tell us the trade.
Okay.
So the T-Wolves traded Karl Anthony Towns, their 7-foot forward, to the Knicks for Julius Randle and Dante DiVincenzo and a first-round pick that the Knicks owned from the Pistons. Let me just start with, we just re-signed our head coach, to a long-term deal. Tom Thibodeau, who used to coach Karl Anthony Towns and hated his guts. They hated each other. They couldn't stand each other for obvious reasons, because Tibbs likes these Villanova type players who are not much ego. They don't do a lot of talking, and they don't make a lot of mistakes, and they play their asses off. Karl, if you think of bonehead plays made by a player in the playoffs, he comes to mind first. He's the guy. He's the dumbass who makes a foul 65 feet from the hoop that was never going to affect the play, and gets himself into foul trouble. And then he has this ridiculous look on his face afterwards, like it's funny to him. He's going to kill the chemistry on this beautiful team that was just like grit and guts and hustle. And now we've given up Dante, who was just our man. I mean, the fans love this guy. And we're going to get a goofball with a $60 million contract that we can't unload. I hate this. I hate this trade.
Why? How does this happen though? I mean, if you're saying Tibbs hated this guy and this isn't the mold that he likes.
Our GM, Rose, used to be an agent. One of his clients was Karl Anthony Towns. That's how.
No.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
Conspiracy
we signed in the offseason a fourth Villanova guy. So the
Yeah.
Knicks get the fourth guy, Mikal Bridges, who fits the mold. And our only problem is we couldn't afford to re-sign Hartenstein, our backup center, because our starting center, Mitch Robinson, never is healthy. And Hartenstein was like, we could have re-signed the guy for like $16 to $20 million. That's why I want to sometime get into and try to figure out the financial rules in the NBA, because they make no sense to me. It punishes successful teams who hold on to players they've developed and forces them to unload a player, because you can't re-sign Hartenstein for 16 to 20 million, but you can go do some stupid trade a few months later and get his replacement for 60 million. It makes no sense. But
yeah, that makes no sense.
We should have been able to hold on to Hartenstein, and maybe if we had to pick up a center later, because Robinson's always hurt. But I hope I'm wrong. I don't think I'm wrong. I think Karl Anthony Towns is a loser and soft and gonna be in Tibbs' doghouse very soon. And you know how the New York fans are. They're gonna run. He's also emotionally kind of brittle. They're gonna break this guy and run him out of town. Mark my words.
This sounds great.
Well, that's positive.
This is a positive development.
That sounds, yeah. Woof.
Good God. Well, I'm betting against the Knicks all year.
Yeah,
That's
sure.
Yeah.
Now, if
Sixers
it works,
and Celtics are happy about that.
If it works, they're the number 2 team in the East, and actually Vegas has them as the third most likely team to win it all. But I don't believe any of that.
All right. Well, we had to mention that trade because Rooster really got under your skin, so we had to give you a chance to sound off. Guys, we didn't have it on the agenda going into today, but I do think we should mention a couple college football developments, right? Around Pope's teams. Now, Pope, can you keep track of who played who? I just want to make sure we're clear.
Yeah, I think Alabama might have played against Georgia, and I think SMU played against Florida State. Any other questions?
TCU, about TCU. What's his other team?
North Carolina lost to Duke
Texas,
in a ridiculous choke job. Mac Brown should be in trouble.
Well, I want to know what your thoughts are on Bama
and
Georgia. What I mean,
it was wild because
concerns.
Well, not in the first half. So I think, I mean, there's a lot of ways to analyze the game, but I think my conclusion that there was plenty of for both teams to take away good from that game, and there's plenty of rat poison for both teams, which is kind of what they wanted at the end. I mean, Kirby Smart, yeah, they came up a little short, but what an amazing comeback. I mean, they were on the ropes, 28-0. It was embarrassing.
Yeah.
It might have had long-term consequences for them if they'd just gotten blown out by 50. But they didn't. They came back and showed, the mettle of a potential championship team. Alabama, if they had blown that game and actually lost after being up 30-7 at halftime, would have been, a lot of questions would have come about Kalen and his ability to close the deal, his ability to, get the team to where it needs to be ultimately. Just an unbelievable back-to-back plays, right? Because Beck completes an 80-yard pass to get them to go ahead, Georgia by 1. And then the next play from scrimmage, Milbrow finds Ryan Williams on what lots of people have been calling one of the most amazing plays in college history, as far as the way he caught the ball.
And he's a high school kid, right?
He's 17 years old.
17 years old.
How does
by the way, it wasn't bad defense. Like the defense was there. Like
but the way he stopped and spun, they ran in. It was like a cop, comedy show. They ran into each other trying to chase him.
Yeah.
How is a 17-year-old playing that level? I mean, 17 to 19 is kind of a big age for kids. You get faster, you get, stronger. Like, that's unbelievable to me that he's playing at that level and scoring the biggest touchdown of the season.
He's had a bunch of big touchdowns for this year. And Jalen Milroe, I think, with apologies to Travis Hunter, I think Jalen probably put him up, one or two in the Heisman race. I mean, what a ridiculous performance. He is just as fast, and good as he is with now his arm is accurate. So he is a dual threat. You guys were giving me a little grief, and you're right. I called for him to probably be benched after the South Florida game, Texas game, back to back. Just horrible. But Saban found something, and Milroe, the rest of the year he played great. So he's just continuing that, and I think Kalen DeBoer has been really well connected with him, and you can see it on the field.
Milroe in one game upended the entire, I think, draft boards of all these professional draftologists who had him probably fourth quarterback coming off the board.
Yeah,
He's got to be one or two now.
well, and you pair that with what Jayden Daniels is doing with his feet as well. Maybe it's a renaissance again of the Lamar Jackson type quarterbacks.
At the same time, if Beck hadn't had the second half that he had in that game, he might have been a second round pick after that game.
Yeah.
Well,
Hell,
I mean, the one thing I can say about the second half was I was listening to some analysis. Georgia played with a sense of desperation that most offenses will not play with during a game. I mean, Kirby would have been punting if the game had been close, but they went for it 5 times on 4th down and converted. I mean, so essentially Georgia was playing with 4 downs instead of 3 the entire second half. And, it made a difference. I mean, they converted on all those 4th downs, and they were able to whittle the score down, and their defense was able to hold Alabama in the second half, unlike the first half.
yeah.
But what just a great college football game.
Oh my gosh. I mean,
it
turned out it lived up to the hype. And of course it raises the question we've asked here before. Is it better to have, your guts pulled out or have your spine broken? Would you rather lose by, breaking your heart or breaking your spine? So,
Hey, 12-team playoff format.
I know. Yep.
No harm, no foul.
I mean,
just fine.
We'll find out what Texas has. I mean, they got some tough games ahead. They got to play Georgia in Austin, but I'm not going to be surprised to see Alabama Georgia rematch for the SEC championship in Atlanta come December.
Yeah. All right, and then there was the other game, Milk. I think you probably had one eye on Florida State, right? How do you feeling about?
Oh, I love it. It's a complete and utter dumpster fire. I mean, they got to make a quarterback. Now, I think he might be hurt. They got to make a quarterback change quickly.
I think his finger got hurt.
Yeah. But SMU looked great, Pope. I mean, you were there.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to wait and talk about it, but, why wait? Because it's kind of a punching lasso. I was going to punch Florida State administration for filing a lawsuit to keep SMU out of the ACC and filing another lawsuit to get out of the ACC now that SMU is in. So karma's a bitch, and that was nice. So I punch you, Florida State. But here's my lasso, and I'll try to be short. But put it in perspective, guys. I was a sophomore at SMU in fall of 1986, November 22nd at Texas Stadium, which doesn't even exist anymore, the old Cowboy Stadium. And that was the last game that SMU played in a major conference. They got smoked by Arkansas 41-0. But 38 years in the desert, not playing in a major college conference. And so we were able to finally, have a game in the ACC. It was unbelievable environment. The campus, was buzzing all week. When I saw the Noles on the schedule coming in, beginning of the year before they just shit the bed, I was like, there's no way we're going to be able to compete with these guys. They're bigger, they're faster. They should have made the playoffs last year. They're just going to roll us. I was still a little bit worried, even though Florida State has been exposed over and over again, that might happen. But SMU rose to the occasion. It was just such a cool environment. Eric Dickerson was the honorary guy there. George Bush, did the flipping of the coin for kickoff. The atmosphere was big time college football, and it felt great after 38 years to have it back on campus. So it was a good feels all the way around. And it was such a rout that a bunch of us started watching the Alabama Georgia game on our YouTube on the phones, and people were paying more attention to that towards the end of the game than Florida State replacements getting smoked.
Perfect. That's the way it should be. Always. I will say also to cap off college football, I was one of the more impressive wins for me because I had for sure a blowout and we've been tough on Prime. I'm pretty shocked that Colorado won the way they did against. I thought UCF was a very good team.
They put it
And
all together. I watched that game. Good game.
and I'm coming more and more around to Sanders being a pretty damn good quarterback. And I mean, I don't we'll see what happens. They could totally lose four
That
games
guy
in a row,
is
but
like the Arch Manning of college football. He gets hit every time he drops back to pass.
yeah,
Their offensive
he's
line is
good.
horrible. And
He's good.
He's good.
He's a good player. So that was good. And then the best thing that happened all weekend was Ole Miss losing because if you're a Gator fan, you kind of want Lane to lose a couple games. Nothing too crazy. But sort of good.
So that's part of your master plan.
Yes, I'm okay with
you want him to feel like a little heat, like that maybe his welcome's been worn out there and it's time to move on before shit really hits the
am
fan.
I really gonna ever win a national championship here? I mean,
yeah, probably not, right?
Ole Miss, right? So maybe
yeah,
leave.
Yeah,
so,
it makes sense. It makes
now,
sense.
you don't want him to lose like 7 games because then he might be like a bad coach. But
right,
one's okay. It was good.
If he loses 7, then you'll definitely sign him at Florida. You guys like shit coaches, so
yeah.
All right. Anything else on college? All right, Pope. I think we did your punch. Does anybody else have?
We did my punch and my lasso.
Well, that was out of order. Anybody else have a punch?
Editing's gonna have a field day with that.
Yeah. All right. Well, I've got a lasso. A little bit of a homer one, but still a good story nonetheless. Stone Garrett, kind of a fringe outfielder for the Nats, played a little bit last year. By the way, this is a guy whose name was perfect for him. He looks like a middle linebacker. I mean, the guy is enormous and just all muscle. But last year on August 23rd, he ran back, to make a play against the wall and broke his leg. Really a bad injury. Carted off and had to fight his way back, rehab all year. And they brought him up for the last series, back to the majors. He wasn't really planning on it. He said he had no idea that they were going to do it. But one of the regular Nats guys went on the paternity list. So they brought Garrett up and he went in his first at bat after coming back from this horrific, broken leg. He hits a home run, goes 3 for 4 on the day, gets the Gatorade bath after the game, and then totally just breaks down, talking about how his mom came and lived with him for 3 weeks and made sure he had meals because he thought, he was going to go home from surgery. He had no idea how much pain he was going to be in. And just a good story about a guy coming back and having that moment. If you watch the video, you can see just raw emotion when he hits the home run to lead off at the bottom of the first inning. So good story for a guy who had to work his way back and had a big moment. So good for Stone Garrett. That's my lasso. Anybody else have a lasso? All right. How about a buzzer beater?
I've got one.
All right.
So early in the year, we featured some young, relatively unknown major league pitchers. And one of the ones we talked about was Tariq Skubal, who pitches for the Tigers and never once let up from that episode where we were just in awe of his ERA. He wound up winning 18 games, finished the year with an ERA of 2.39 and struck out 228 batters and won the Triple Crown because he led the AL in all 3 of those categories. So hats off to Skubal. Wow. What a great year. In this day and age, win 18 games. That's a lot. It's like winning 25 in the 70s.
That's wild. Yeah. Yeah. You just don't see that anymore. All right. Who else has a buzzer beater? Well, I got one. And I'm not going to say his name right because I don't think I've ever gotten it right. But Luis Erez, did I get close? No? Okay. Well, he is the first player in Major League history to win 3 consecutive batting titles with 3 different teams. So that's pretty wild to bounce around like that and not have it affect you and be the batting champ 3 years in a row. So that was my buzzer beater.
Can you guys name another player who won it with 2 different teams?
He's probably a Yankee.
Yes, always.
DJ
I don't know.
LeMahieu.
Oh, did he? He did. He won
Wow.
it with Minnesota and the Yankees.
Either that or Toronto and the Yankees. I forget which.
Yeah. Huh. Okay. It had to be a Yankee. You knew that. Any other buzzer beaters?
We should probably wish the U.S. congrats on winning the President's Cup. So
Yeah, and they made
continue-
it interesting by losing all their matches the second
right.
day, but
And a lot of drama too. Like a lot
Yeah.
of shit talking, a lot of a lot of incidents outside the ropes, right? I mean, it was kind of a wild weekend.
Canadian
pulled it
fans
off.
were wild.
Yeah.
They got out of control.
Yeah.
They were like
Yeah, I
just
mean, come
yelling at
on, Moose, got to control your fans.
All right. Well, before we go, we got to pour one out this today, and this is a sad one. I didn't even know this was out there, but Dikembe Mutombo, at age 58, died today. And Mutombo's got pretty wild story where he came from. It was then the Democratic Republic of. It's now the Democratic Republic of Congo. It was Zaire at the time. He spoke 9 languages, and English was not necessarily one of them. When he got to the U.S., he came to Georgetown, where John Thompson took him under his wing like he did so many big men and turned him into. He actually played club or intramural hoops his freshman year because he'd never played basketball before. Didn't really
Can you
know
imagine?
anything about basketball.
I'll take the tall guy.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And, he went on and he had 12 blocks in one Big East game. He was the 4th pick in the 91 draft by the Nuggets. He played for the Hawks, the Sixers. He was I think he won.
Knicks.
Did he play for the Knicks?
Yep.
He did. I think how many defensive player of the years did he win? I think it was 4.
Yeah.
And, also on one of the NBA All 75 team, Hall of Famer, and really known at the end of the day for a lot of his international humanitarian aid work that he did too, and built schools and hospitals in different countries. He was a 2-time recipient of the Walter Kennedy Citizenship Award that the NBA gives out. So,
And he was funny.
Great guy, great sense of humor, great booming voice.
Did you mention that he's the 2nd leading rebounder in NBA history?
No, I missed that.
Yeah, behind Olajuwon.
And just on a personal note, I remember being a freshman at Georgetown and school hadn't even started yet. We were having a baseball practice and I was in the training room and I was sitting on a table and to my left was Patrick Ewing and to my right was Dikembe, and then talking to them was Alonzo standing there. And I was like the guy in the middle of this triangle, guys talking. And so, Mutombo was that booming voice will not be forgotten, nor will the finger wag. So really a sad, a big loss and a young man.
How did he pass? Well, did they say
brain
cancer?
Brain
Yeah,
cancer.
And do we actually know what his age was?
Well, that's a good question. That's a fair question.
Dead at 58 or 61
or 61. Yeah, it could be something like that. That's a fair question.
I think to honor Mount Mutombo, we all ought to do our best finger wag impersonation. No.
All right, guys, that's it for this week. Everyone have a good week. All right, baseball postseason getting ready to go. See y'all.
Braves are in trouble.